Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you, we don't have a nickname for it, but it's the Cybertruck with paddle tires that we used to call Cybertracks. So first things first, help us come up with a nickname for this Mars rover, which I want to call the Mars rover, but that's not real catchy. It would make sense because the Elon SpaceX thing, but anyways. Today, we're gonna test out the Cybertruck here at Sand Hollow, Utah, in the sand dunes. We got paddle tires on it. We got slick tires in the front, the smoothies for carving through the sand. We got coilover suspension from Fox. We got Baja Designs lights. We've got Sparks motor suspension. This thing is upgraded and ready to rock and roll. So this is gonna be fun, guys. This truck is a completely different animal now from when it had tracks on it. And I'm pretty excited to see what it does.
Jumping the skids here? Yeah.
Guys, welcome back to Cybertracks. Not really sure if we're gonna stick with Cybertracks anymore because this is getting a whole new look and design. We decided to switch it up. And that, my friends, is why we are now sending it to the desert. I know a lot of you guys are big desert people, you're off-roaders, you've wanted to see this thing off-roading, we're gonna do that. As you can see, it's got an all-new look on it, okay? Envision decided they wanted to crack at the Cybertruck, so we let them. They're the guys that actually take care of all of Supercar Ron's vehicles currently. So they wrapped this thing. It's kind of as if it's entering back into the Earth, like it's gone up in space. It's coming back down. You see the front end was black. It's brighter, more, I guess you'd say, unburnt in the rear. So obviously we're gonna keep the Baja lights on here. Those guys came in huge for us and they're taking care of us. We wanna make sure we keep all their equipment on here. We also have Fox suspension. They are sending out all new suspension for this thing. Like definitely taking care of us on that. So big thanks to those guys. Hostile Wheels is gonna send out wheels for this thing. They're literally overnighting us some wheels to make this happen. The list goes on, guys. We have tons of help and tons of support behind this. We're excited to see how it does. I think it'll do awesome. I think it's gonna work out a lot better because we're not gonna have to have spacers that are 1.5 feet wide. 48 hours to complete this project, and it's like a 4-hour drive. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
This thing's insane. Like, it is just insane. I want to keep driving it before we lose sunlight because it's just working so well. Hey, I'm gonna take a quick break because I want to give one of you a bunch of free Milwaukee tools, like $4,000 worth of tools, or an Apple Vision Pro. But the most important message I have for you right now is I'm gonna tell you how you can avoid cutting off your finger if you wear a wedding ring. The Tough Ring is a silicone wedding band. Obviously, as a guy that uses my hands a lot, there's all sorts of risks in wearing jewelry. You could really quickly and easily lose a finger if you wear a metal ring. Tough Ring is a ring that is super comfortable to wear. It's made out of silicone, so it's super safe. If it gets caught in a saw or a tool or something like that, the ring will fail before it rips your finger off. Right here, we have any old generic rubber ring. And we're gonna see how many quarts of oil this ring can hold before it fails. 1 quart, 2 quarts, 3 quarts, starting to stretch, 4 quarts. And there you have it. The ring just failed with 4 quarts of oil in it, which is still pretty impressive. Now we're gonna show you what the Tough Ring can do. We got 4 quarts in the bucket. Here comes quart number 5. 21 quarts of oil so far, and the tough ring has not failed. Anybody who places an order right now is gonna get entered to win a full Milwaukee toolkit or Apple Vision Pro. Plus, if you buy a tough ring, you're gonna get 2 comfort rings absolutely free. In addition to giving you guys 2 rings, literally buy one, get 2 free, plus entering you to win a bunch of Milwaukee tools or Apple Vision Pro, I'm also gonna give the first 100 of you that place an order one of our free wallets. This is the Tough wallet. It has this little trick right here where you squeeze that, throws your cards up for you. It's got your cash holder right here. Use the promo code HEAVYD and you are gonna get the 2 rings free, a wallet for free, and you're gonna get free shipping. Use the promo code HEAVYD. Enjoy. If I were you, I'd hurry and get the wallet because these are sick. All right, this is officially one of the craziest feelings. Driving the Cybertruck at the sand dunes with paddle tires. And it's doing really well. Like, really well. So much power. Well, it turns out the Tesla Cybertruck on paddles is just absolutely silly. That's some of the most fun I've ever had, and it works so damn well. One of my favorite features is the fact that it has the 4-wheel drive, that you can control how much power is going to the front and the rear wheels. So you kick like 90% of the power to the rear wheels, and it makes the ass end just kind of fish around. But the paddles are grabbing. It's incredible. I was not easy on this thing today. Like I was giving her the old what for pretty good, and nothing broke and nothing. I just kept on kicking out of off-road mode, which is a minor thing, but other than that, I love it. So with that said, now we're gonna head back to the house, charge this truck, and get ready for another day of beating tomorrow. So we'll see you tomorrow morning.
The first thing that happens is that.
Hey, why are you looking at me?
I looked at you, but then I didn't want to put the blame on you. I didn't want to
Put it on.
Chase, no, I do not.
Put it on me. Let everybody know. It wasn't Dave that broke it this time. It was actually me, but everything's gonna be okay.
Everything will be fine. We'll get some starter fluid, a lighter, use some science, and boom, tire will be back on. We'll be ripping them hills. Yeah, I was gonna say something else, but I don't know what I was gonna say.
This man's coming through.
That's kind of a cool noise.
That is cool.
Well, my friends, that's a wrap for the Cyber Rail. This thing performed really, really well. As you guys saw, it did things that I didn't think it was capable of, and it's still in one piece. However, it's in limp mode now because something's wrong with the electronic steering. And in order to prevent an accident, they basically just put the car into can't go more than 4 miles an hour when the steering's like that. So that's something that's deep inside the system. I took kind of a hard hit in the sand with the nose, and it pushed something up into the steering. So give it back to the shop, clean that out. But it did really well. So now we got to figure out which direction we want to go with it next. Whether we lift it, lower it, I don't know. You guys tell me, drop your ideas below. We got plenty of ideas, but I want to hear from you and see what you're thinking. Huge shout out to Supercar Ron, Tace, and their whole team. Those guys are doing some really cool stuff. And I think what I enjoy about their channel is they're actually just out there having a good time. They don't have much of a prerogative other than just do cool stuff. And that shows in their work they're putting out, and it's really good stuff. So make sure you click the link below, follow them. Huge shout out to Tesla. Thank you for always continuing to support this project and helping us, figure out these little issues and stuff. So we are far from done testing this truck. I know a lot of you want to see us test the Badger that I'm building as well, which trust me, that's coming soon. So we got all kinds of testing coming up for you guys and some really exciting stuff. So all right, so we are back from the dunes. We've had all of our fun in the snow, in the sand, off-road. There's lots of things I don't like about it, but there's more things that I do like about it. And I want to kind of go through that stuff with you guys to help you understand what's going on, why we're putting so much time and energy into this truck, and what you can expect, moving forward. So I'm a diesel guy. I am a internal combustion engine guy. I like horsepower. I like V8s, V10s, V12s. I like big engines, and I like going fast. However, I also like technology, and I like innovation, and I like new things. I like exciting things, and that's exactly what the Cybertruck is. The people at Tesla have created something really special here. I know a lot of you guys online, you take a look at the truck, whether you've seen it on the internet or in person, and there's some people who are just not a fan of the design. I was one of those people at first. When I first looked at it in the stock configuration, for me, it's not something that I would want to drive every single day. But I knew that it had potential, which is why we started tearing into it and modifying it and making it, feel more our style. And as that's happened, I've started to really love the truck. I'm big on proportions. So any vehicle, that's why I always put big tires on all my different trucks and cars, because I like the tires to just be a little bit bigger than what the factory would put on. Factory has to follow all these guidelines of what's practical, what's safe, what gets the right fuel economy or battery range. There's all sorts of things that they have to worry about. When you buy a vehicle and you make it your own, you can make those changes. So what I really like about the Cybertruck is once you increase the tire size and kind of bump the stance out a little bit and just give it that more rugged off-road look, the proportions all seem to tie together pretty well. And it's really not that hard. So a little bigger tire, maybe different wheels, a little bit of a lift kit, and boom, you've got yourself a really cool, futuristic looking vehicle that's built extremely well. That's one thing I'll say about Tesla. You guys gotta understand, Tesla is an American company. Yes, they source parts and stuff from all over the world, including China, but Tesla's like the most American-made car that's probably ever existed. And you can tell because the quality is just next level. So I wanna go through a couple things on this truck that we experienced throughout all this testing, some of the stuff that broke, some of the things that wasn't, that didn't hold up to our abuse. Granted, the tests that we threw at this thing were completely unconventional. These were not normal tests. This isn't something that the Cybertruck is gonna be, exposed to every single day with, an average owner. So you guys know the main problem we had was the front suspension. When we put those tracks on, this upper control arm that sits right up in here essentially is what supports all the load of the suspension as it goes up and down. It holds the spindle in place. As you can see, it's not very thin metal. However, it is a little bit structural because they've got, they've built some structure into it by stamping gussets and these valleys and stuff like that. That makes the piece more rigid. So I would dare say that 99% of Cybertruck owners out there are never gonna have a problem with this because you're not gonna be bolting massive snow tracks or paddle tires or anything like that onto the truck. And even when we did have the paddle tires on, suspension held up really well. Granted, that was after we'd already replaced some components. Now I wanna show you the amount of stress, like the enormous load that we actually had applied to the suspension when the tracks were on it, because you may not fully grasp how that works until you see a little, demonstration, which is exactly what I have for you guys right now. This Coke can right here represents this control arm. This configuration right here pretty much represents the stock suspension configuration, meaning there's not a ton of leverage on that upper control arm, and everything is basically lined up the way they're supposed to be. I mean, Tesla did a really, really good job. Their engineers are freaking geniuses, the way that they kind of did this packaging, put everything in the truck. So this represents my stock suspension. This basically represents my spindle that's putting all the leverage onto the upper control arm. So as I apply leverage to this part right here, you'll see I'll probably be able to smash it, but it's gonna take me, okay, I can't smash it. Now, let's bolt the tracks on. This is roughly the same length as the track spacer were. They were huge. They were ridiculous because we had to push them outside the body because otherwise they would have ran into the fenders and it would have been a nightmare. So we bolt the tracks on and then we put a load on the truck. Science. I mean, that's literally exactly what happened. Let me show you again. Stock upper control arm. This is essentially what your suspension is doing. You know, you're going down the road, you're getting bumps and all kinds of stuff. And that control arm is not doing this because it doesn't have a tremendous load. Put that tremendous load on and literally just a little bit of, that's it. It's all about leverage, guys. So people look at this and they want to say, oh, Tesla, you're crazy, you're using junk parts. And I disagree. Now, I will say this. This is not the upper control arm that I probably would have gone with, but then again, I'm not building a truck that costs billions and billions of dollars to manufacture. So when you look at the truck, you gotta realize that they are trying to find every way they possibly can to bring the cost of this truck down, to make it more affordable for everybody, to make it safe, to make it durable, to make it not too heavy. Like, there's all sorts of things working against them. And essentially this is where they landed. And like I said, at first I was not too impressed, but the more I looked at how these components held up when there wasn't giant snow tracks bolted onto it, I was pretty impressed. I think you're probably gonna see a lot of these new parts on the market coming from both our shop and other people that continue to modify these trucks. A full suspension system is probably the move for somebody who wants to do, you know, more off-road stuff, kind of the rugged, you know, aggressive driving that we were doing out in the dirt and the sand and stuff like that. If you want to be able to essentially jump your Cybertruck, then I would suggest upgrading your suspension. Now, there's very few people that are actually going to go jump their, you know, $100,000 plus brand new truck. But if you do plan on pushing your truck to the limit, I would suggest at least upgrading the upper control arms, potentially getting bigger tie rods, a little bit thicker. And then, you know, the next weak link from that is essentially your steering rack or your spindle, the knuckle, which we broke as well. So there's all sorts of little things depending on how hard you plan on pushing the truck. So if you have questions or if you want to get your Cybertruck like really dialed in, hit us up. Send an email to info@HeavyDSparks.com. If you're interested in getting a suspension system built, if you're interested in getting a full mod build done, we can do pretty much everything. And no, we're not just focusing on Cybertrucks. We're still doing all sorts of crazy projects. In fact, the Cybertruck is the only electric vehicle in our shop right now. You name it, we're gonna play with it because we're all about innovation, technology, engineering, and pushing vehicles to the absolute limit. So the last thing I wanna say, guys, is when the Cybertruck came out, I think I saw it in 2020, that I didn't think they were actually gonna build it, or I thought it would look significantly different. But at that time, you know, a bunch of my friends were placing reservations and I was like, might as well. So I threw a reservation on there. I just totally forgot about it. Well, I got notified the other day that my reservation is like almost ready for delivery because we got it way early on and I ordered the beast mode. So that means that I'm probably gonna be taking delivery of another Cybertruck, which is the 3-motor Beast Edition. The truck that we have now is the dual motor, which means there's one motor in the rear, one motor in the front, and the Beast has 2 motors in the rear, 1 motor in the front. And the reason I like that is because way more power, way more options as far as controllability. For example, I don't even know if I'll give you guys a little teaser. You guys know the Ripsaw, right? The tracked vehicle, super crazy. I had one, Cletus bought it from me, then Mike Patey. Well, we're thinking about maybe doing a Ripsaw style Cybertruck on tracks with lots of suspension. And since you can control each motor individually, we could literally use our steering wheel to steer a tank because it's going to control each axle individually. So pretty excited about that. Lots of different options and ideas. So I want to hear from you guys because we are not done testing this yet. We still have a lot of plans. Supercar Ron's truck. We are kind of going over some different ideas with him, figuring out which direction he wants to go next. He wanted to experience the different personalities that the Cybertruck can really have. So some of the ideas that we have next are monster truck. Another idea, and the one that I'm probably the very most excited about, and I'm gonna need your guys' help with this because I've never built one of these. I'm thinking about building that Cybertruck into a lowrider with hydraulics, because the truck already has an incredible electrical system with its high voltage battery plus the 48 volt battery system. There's tons of power, and power is exactly what we need to be able to run those big hydraulic pumps to get that truck hopping. If you're familiar with hydraulics, or if you know anything about that industry, I'm gonna need a lot of help with this because this is my first time doing it. Another idea I have, we might run the Baja 1000 with it. We would rip off all of the factory suspension and bolt on big beefy A-arm suspension. I would be shocked if we finished. I'm gonna try to, but the whole goal is to just do something that's never been done before. Now you guys are like, hey, what about the battery range? How are you gonna refuel? Well, the plan that we would have there is we're building some custom generator trucks, basically like an F550, and then we have these giant like 80 kilowatt generators that bolt onto the bottom of the truck and hook into the PTO. So this truck, just like a regular service truck or a flatbed or a pickup truck, can follow the Cybertruck as a chase truck on this race, and then when the battery gets low enough, we can pull up to it, fire our charging truck up, and fast charge the Cybertruck in probably 15-20 minutes to be able to get enough range to be able to make it to the next stage of the race. I'm really not that concerned about range, especially since down in the dunes, the battery on the Cybertruck lasted all day long. And you guys saw the video, you saw how hard I was pushing it. When we parked it the first night, we still had over 20% battery, and that was, like I said, after pushing it. The next day, we rode it hard all morning until I basically put it into limp mode, and it wouldn't go faster than 4 miles an hour. That only used about 40% battery, so I think on the second day we still had 60% battery remaining when we put it on the trailer. So I'm impressed with the battery in normal conditions. My opinion on the Cybertruck as of today is significantly stronger than it was when the truck first came out. One of the main reasons is because Tesla's just been so cool. Now Tesla is not paying us to do this. They're not giving us free trucks. They're not doing anything that you might think for us to promote the brand, because Tesla really doesn't spend any money on marketing. My whole goal, and the goal of all my guys here in the shop, is to show you how a Tesla product can work in blue collar applications, which like guys like you, me, and the rest of us happen to do. I appreciate you watching this video. I know this is completely outside of the realm of the stuff that we normally do, because obviously we work on diesel and gas engine, big horsepower stuff, but the electric stuff's not going away. And I'll tell you this, there's so much drama in the automotive industry right now with not necessarily people in the industry, but consumers. It's like they're forcing you to take a side. You're either an EV guy or you're an internal combustion engine guy. And I just think that's stupid, because each vehicle has its own use in different applications. So this whole, you gotta pick sides, it's just kind of ignorant and childish, guys. I mean, for me, it's like somebody comes up to you and they love the lake. They love swimming in the lake, but they refuse to get in the ocean just because it's different. You don't have to pick one or the other. In fact, right now in my garage, I have an electric Porsche. I have the Cybertruck I've been driving. I have a Hellcat powered Jeep Gladiator. I have a Cummins truck. I've got, you name it, guys. I've got a wide variety of vehicles. And the reason for that is because I want to be able to explore. That said, I just want to give a huge shout out to Baja Designs for the lights, Supercar Ron for being an amazing partner on this build. Obviously, the folks over at Tesla. You've got Arctic FX Graphics. You've got Envision, who did the wraps on the truck. You've got Sand Tires Unlimited, Hostile Wheels. Obviously, the one I'm most proud of is my guys right here at Sparks Motors. Guys, they turned the Cybertruck from a snowcat into a sandrail in 48 hours. So if you guys see anything that we put on the Cybertruck that you potentially want to buy for your own, again, hit us up. We may be able to build you some parts. We're not going to ramp up mass production of them just yet because we're still kind of testing and prototyping, but send an email to info@HeavyDSparks.com if you're interested, and we'll see you guys in the next video.